with Heart podcast, brought to you by The Collective. My name is Brad Stinson. I'm the CEO of The Collective Global, and my co-host is
Danny Williamson.
Today, we are going to bring you a podcast where we interview each other.
This is going to be fun.
Yes, it is.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this.
Me too.
Yeah, so the reason we're doing this is so that you guys can know a little bit more about us and what we're about personally. You might hear us on the past few interviews or whatever we did, and we're asking questions, but maybe you're like, well, who in the world are you, man? And so we want to answer that, and we really want to kind of dive into each other's stories and share with you a little bit more of who we are.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump right in and just, when we say start with heart, Danny, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? It's the name of our podcast.
Yeah, it is the name of our podcast, Start with Heart. I like that. I'm going to lean on Viktor Frankl for this one. And maybe I took your thunder, but I love his book, Man's Search for Meaning, and this whole idea of logotherapy and living with purpose, living with meaning. And I think that's where it starts with heart for me. When I hear start with heart, I'm like, okay, let's start with what really matters. I've found the most satisfying times in my life is when I'm doing what really matters. When I'm doing things that impact people, that help people feel loved and encouraged and valued. When I make a difference in someone's life. I think, having faith is part of my background. Being a Christian even is something that's really important to me as far as thinking of eternity. And starting when I think start with heart, I think I want to start with the idea of eternity. I want to start with what really matters in this life, and I want to be about it. How about you?
Man, I think this is why we started it, man. I know you didn't steal my thunder. It's just the way you and I see the world, right? You and I believe this. I mean, we named it for this, and I think it's, you start with heart to find that purpose. We say it all the time is the goal in life is to find your purpose, not just your passions. You don't really go after your passions to find more passions. You can, but the truth is you want to figure out what your passions are, so you can find your purpose and then go deeper into that purpose. So this is really where you and I see eye to eye on this, and I think that one of the things that just we wanted to bring to you and what we're trying to do is for people that have found their purpose and live their purpose. And I know that you and I we really tried to do that in our lives and understand what that means for us. And I think that there's a lot of times in this world that we're thinking about what do we see or what do we think, and I think that we really need to start to say what does our heart say about this? Because there's so many things distracting us from our hearts because of the way the world just is today. And I think that if we had more conversation about what does our heart say and what does it feel like and where we are, I think that you'll even see that what you see and what you hear gets better. And so for me, it's a complete podcast focused on the stories and the interviews around starting from a place that we know purpose comes from.
That's right. Well, another thing, and a lot of these questions are questions we like to ask our guests on the show, but we want to ask ourselves these things as well. So a few years back, you started a company, which I'm very familiar with, but you started a company called The Collective Global. Could you share a little bit of backstory on that and why you started The Collective Global?
Yeah, as we all are, and we grow up, we're fascinated or interested in certain things. I've always been interested in leadership and what makes a leader, and how do people transcend to different levels, and what does it mean to be a transformational leader, emotionally intelligent leader, and I was always fascinated with that. And so I just really sought out to learn from the best leaders I could in the corporations that I work for. And I found, that during that time that I was, finding my way as we all are in the world, early in our 20s and into our 30s, that, I really was looking for something that I could latch onto with all the things that are out there in the world on how to lead people, on how I could actually become transformational and lead a team of excellence and be influential in my company or my team or whatever. And I found a path. I discovered a path that was used many years ago by a great leader by the name of Nehemiah, and then I gut checked it with a lot of other leaders and corporations and sports teams and movements in history, and what I found was they used a very similar path. And so I used it in a corporation that I worked for about 10, 12 years, and it really took, I was on the bottom team, kind of in that valley of your career, and I worked with another guy, and we actually brought our team to be a top 5 team, and then we brought our state from a bottom state to a top state, and then we worked in the zone, and then we worked across the country helping other people do the same. And then as this was going on, I saw it was something that where I didn't really completely focus on process or performance or the profit. I was completely focusing on the people. And this is a path for people that gave them purpose on the team that they were on. So I stepped out of corporate America to create the collective global, and been on a journey the past 3 years. While the company's 3 years old, the idea that's been used is over 10, and we've just seen people not only find purpose at work, but also to find purpose in taking some of these things home. And I think that's where I've really seen we really want to make change at that dinner table. And that's where change happens. And I think that our vision at the Collective Global is to awaken purpose at work and home. And we're on a journey that we're going to die on that hill until we get there, and that's where our vision is, and that's why I created it. That's what we're doing. And this podcast is just an extension of it. I want to share stories of people who've done this, that have tried to live a life through purpose and starting with heart. And I think it's so important in the world that we live in. And I'm just blessed to have the opportunity to work with an amazing team and yourself and so many amazing clients that just get that opportunity for leaders to really find their purpose and help others do the same.
Yeah, that's great.
Flip it back on you, man. You have an amazing story in the past that I really would love for you to kind of share. If you look back of all the different types of nonprofits you've been with, and then obviously share about like how that is kind of become who you are today, but then also this new venture that has come out, and this new thing that has come out of you around joy. Because I can tell you that if you've ever spent 5 minutes with Danny, you smile.
Thanks, man. Really, I've been on a bit of a journey, and when I was 18, my life turned around, and I began to look up. I was so inward focused, as many teenagers are, and those kinds of things. But shortly after I graduated high school, I looked up and I surrendered my life to Christ, and that's really what turned everything around and set my eyes in the right direction. But a lot came with that. I had no idea that life could be so abundant. I had no idea that life could be such an adventure. And even, you asked my wife, even in her wedding vows, to me, she even said, like, I'm committed to you and all of your adventures. She was like, I'm with you in this. I know that there's never a dull moment with you, Danny, but I'm with you in this. And it's true, my life has been an adventure. I've been able to travel all over the world, over 33 countries at this point. I've been a part of a couple nonprofits that have done worldwide works and humanitarian aid and works of evangelism and music. And so it's just been incredible. I've been super blessed, been able to speak all over the world. It's really a gift that I don't deserve. But in the midst of all this, and even in the midst of trying times, so I remember living down in Argentina, and I went through a real stretch down there. We were down there for almost 3 years, and while I was there, I was just really challenged. My joy was challenged. So that has been it's always encompassed my life of joy. And people, they say joy, and they say, man, even like you said, it's super encouraging. And it has become almost a staple and a stamp on my life of being joyful. But I began to ask the questions, those hard questions, in Argentina, even of like, I started to lose it a bit. And where is that joy? And I started to battle with things like depression and deep insecurities and these things. And I just started to ask those questions, well, where's the joy? So thus this book came out of it, out of that pain, because I had kind of lost my own joy. And so it ties into the whole subtitle of the book, which is an invitation to look up, reach out, and experience life's greatest treasure, because I found that joy is such a strength giver. When we walk in joy, people feel like we're hit by a train that's just going by right now.
Seriously.
And cups are falling and it's crazy, but when life gets crazy, what happens? Do we sink into our hole, or do we begin to look up and find strength? Do we get to look outside of ourselves? Do we look away from our phone? You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's a huge problem now. This whole phone thing, and we're so locked into our phones and so locked into our social media worlds and those things. And so some of that's brought up in the book, but to tie it all full circle, I just began to be passionate about joy, because you ask anybody, and all my world travels, it's like you ask any person, any culture, hey, do you want joy? 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people have a misconception of what joy is. They think it's just about being happy and hula hoops, and you know what I mean, like unicorns and rainbows, and it's so much more than that. I mean, there's even things we can experience that I call painful joy. That if it wouldn't have been for the pain that I did walk through, I would have never had the joy that I have now, and learned the lessons that I've learned now. And so, yeah, it all kind of came out of that, and I've been kind of on this mission to find what opens the door to joy, how to have joy in the workplace, how to have joy in our conversations, in our family life, all of that. And it's not something I have all the answers to, but I have discovered some keys along the way to unlock that door of joy in my life, and can also in other people's.
Yeah, one of the things you said to me that I'll just continue to reiterate to everybody that I know is that fun is in the moment, joy is in my life. And that has just been something that I've really seen in you. It's a way of life for you. Become joyful. Yeah. Obviously, they come and see what joy is.
That's right. And we got all kinds of stuff going on. Sirens, trains. It's amazing. If you can't hear it, you are blessed, because we are surrounded by all. But you know what though? This is a picture of joy right now, because we can have joy in the midst of the storm. Like there's all kinds of things, crazy stuff going around in our life right now, but there can be a steady peace. I compare joy to half and half. And it's actually the opening chapter of my book is half and half, because I like half and half of my coffee for a couple of reasons. I'll go there. One, it reminds me of my wife's gorgeous skin, which is hot and brown. And I love her to pieces. And that's right, she's amazing. I can say my wife's hot on the podcast, because she is.
We married up.
Yeah, totally married up. And but with that said, joy's kind of the same way. Like half and half, when you have a bitter cup of coffee, you add some half and half to it. It just adds some flavor, some sweetness to it, and it creates a wonderful thing. And so that's joy. In the midst of life, you can add some things when you're going through pains. You can add joy, and joy can be part of the entire experience. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, obviously when we started this podcast, a lot of it was some around leadership, some was around, just people's stories and interviews, obviously, about that. But just asking you, what do you think are some of the myths or misconceptions, around leadership, and maybe joy? Throw that in there, Nate.
Yeah.
I think that's good. What you really have looked into these days, and basically, what do you emphasize in your message to the world, on that?
Yeah. Well, I think common misunderstandings of leadership is thinking that it always has to be top down. Thinking that it's always the person calling all the shots. It's always the person telling everybody else what to do. And that's such a small part of leadership. Yeah, there's times we do have to step up and take charge and say, okay, we got to do this. In my experience, I had an experience in the military. I saw some extreme forms of misappropriated leadership, where they're just yelling, veins popping out of their neck and that kind of thing. I understand why, trying to brace you for war, intense situations, but the true leaders are those who led really from the bottom up, not from the top down. They had a way of influencing those all around them. And that's really what leadership is. It's influencing people. And anytime we misappropriate that, or we can really misidentify leadership as just thinking we're the boss of these things. And leadership is always learning, and then you tie in joy to it. Like some leaders think that they can't be happy, Some, they really do. They think that they always got to wear, straight face, that if that if their employees see them laughing or whatever, they're going to associate that with weakness, and it's just not the case. People need to be able to smile at work. People need to be able to walk with a lightheartedness, and that's why I love joy at work. And so those are some of the things, some of the misconceptions, thinking that if you're happy at work or something, it's a sign of weakness, which is not. And then also thinking that you need to lead from the top down. It's not the case. It's all about true leadership is like supporting, lifting up those around you, helping those around you become even better.
That's great.
How about you? What's some things you found along the way with myths and misconceptions of leadership?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, think they have to do it alone, right? And there's just that need that I need to do this, climb this mountain by myself, do this mountain, and I need to be in the forest and ahead. Which there's nothing wrong with leading, the pack or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of times, people set off, maybe with not enough support.
Yeah.
And I think that they really need to understand there's people that have come before them that know a lot more than them.
Yeah.
And being humble in the space of just really trying to learn from that group of people. It's those standing on shoulders of giants, and who are your giants?
Yeah.
And somebody told me along the way that, who's your 10, 20, and 30-year guy?
Yeah.
So I'm 38.
Yeah.
So who's 48, 58, and 68 that I'm
Oh, there we go. I like that.
And I think that, I'm 38, so who's the 28 and 18-year-old that I'm pouring into?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about learning, it's about giving. And I think the misconception about leadership is just let's learn, let's read, let's go to conferences, do all those things. But I think that you try to take those things and put them back, just put them right back out and use them, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that there is something that we found, obviously the collective, there's an intentional order that must be done.
Yeah.
I think as you understand that and go through that, there's some very basic building blocks of leadership around defining current state, and who you are, where you're going, some mission, vision, values, and unity. And I think those things have gone through by the wayside. There are things that are on the wall. There are things that leaders do not live by. Look at the news, right? And I think that those are the big misconceptions, and misunderstandings, in leadership these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know these are some of your favorite questions you like to ask guests. Coming up is, what makes your heart beat, Brad Stinson?
Yeah. When I see people find their purpose, or when I see people step into a place that's closer to their purpose than it was before, I think that there's not just a light bulb, there's a different type of just luminescence that comes from it when it's your purpose. You think it's the brightest light, and then you find your purpose, and there's just something that's even more that you can't even explain, because there's no get out of bed faster, quicker, more. And I think that what makes my heart beat is when I see people step in and find their purpose and understand that everybody does have a purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I would say...
So makes your heart beat. Danny?
Yeah. It's been this way for probably since my early days in the Navy, when I got to see the world, honestly, the nations. And connect, and merging my love for the nations with connecting people. And because when you connect people, there's a strength there, and when there's a strength there, they reach their purpose. There's something about connecting, whether it's from when I'm on stage and I'm speaking, able to connect with the audience and really speak into their life and bring hope, to their lives, or going to a foreign nation and connecting that person with a loaf of bread. Maybe they need food. Connecting that person with the heart's greatest need, which is love. I think those two things really make my heart beat. I love jet lag. It shows I like airplanes. You know what I mean? Yes, I like jet lag.
You said you like jet lag.
I do. It's weird. It's this weird thing, but there's something strange about it. But the whole point is I love the nations. I love stepping into a foreign nation. It can be a beautiful European country. It could be, blistering heat in Africa. I mean, it could be the crowded streets of India, China, trains. I love the nations. I love meeting people of those nations and connecting them with truth, connecting them with hope, connecting them with love. Yeah. The next question, what makes your heart break?
very synonymous, with at least the beat question is, which on beat is that when people don't think that they have a purpose, or they don't know how, to find it, or don't think that they can pursue it. I think that for me really just because I've seen I'm starting to see so many people who actually, when they go after their purpose and have a support system of who's with them and who's for them and who they need to know and who they need to move on from, as they go after that, I think that's something that makes them break when people think that they're stuck, that they don't feel like they can go or do or step into something, and I think that's really why I created Collective.
Yeah.
It's like, I love to help people find a purpose, and that's the beat part, but I think when it breaks my heart when I know, I think why I have just so much, we have so much time here, and I think that if I can just help one more person just understand that you have purpose and you can live that purpose, and I think when people don't have that, or don't think that they have a purpose, that kills me.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you? Make sure.
Yeah. The more I think about it, it's got to be loneliness. Seeing people who are alone, and it wrecks me. It moves me to tears when someone feels unloved or not valued, or isolated. And I know it's kind of heavy, but I recently found out a friend of mine that we had lost contact over the years. Been 15 years since I last spoke with him, but I recently heard that he had passed away, and they found him in his apartment, and he had been alone. He had died, and he had been alone, dead for 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it just wrecked me, the fact that he was absolutely alone. And you always ask this question, like, what could I have done? How could I have reached out? But those things really break me. That's why I love going to the nations, just because you're meeting with people in need at times, and they just need a friend. They just need a smile. They just need a hug. They just need a high five. And I just love helping people feel valued. And I think that even spills over into what I've been able to do with here at the Collective, is helping leaders see like each person on your team has value. Each person on your team matters. So, yeah. What difference? There's another question that I love seeing your eyes light up when you ask people this question. But what difference do you want to make in the world?
The simple question is just leave it better than I found it. The people that I come in contact with, the leaders that maybe they operate a different way, they see the world a different way, and then we cannot stop this work until that is something that I'm on a mission to do. And I think that when you can wake up every day with the same vision and have purpose at work and home, you're living that life.
Yeah.
And I think that if I can help as many people be introduced to what that could be, maybe as many as I can there, that's the difference that I want to make, and that's the difference that the Collective is here to do.
That's right. Yeah, man. I even think of that for myself. Like, what kind of difference do you want to make, Danny? And I like to go to the epitaph question. What do I want written on my gravestone? It's joy. I want to make it. I want to bring joy to the nations, man. I want to bring joy to Nashville. I want to bring joy to my own home, which is oftentimes the hardest place to do it. Because my kids and my wife see me day in and day out, and they see the times I'm not joyful, and I'm struggling with joy, fighting for joy. And so I think it's got to be joy. I want to bring joy everywhere I go and leave that mark. So, yeah, Brad, I'm going to bring up some pictures, bro.
All right, are we going to do this to where we go back and forth? We do all mine, all yours?
Let's do all yours, and then you can do all mine.
Sweet.
This is fun. So the question, though, is when you see these pictures, what comes to your heart? Not just your mind.
Yep.
What comes to your heart? First picture, all right, is a buffalo. Let's show the camera there.
Yes.
Okay. Little buffalo.
Little buffalo.
There we go.
Man, the the story that we tell. What comes to my heart is people that see breakthrough.
Why? Why Buffalo though?
Yeah. So the story that we tell is that the first time that the Indians and the Cowboys observed the buffalo and the cows in the plain, they saw a storm coming. The cows innately ran away from the storm, and they didn't want to be any part of it. And the storm's coming, lightning, scary. But for some reason, the buffalo and the herd, they ran right at it because they know if they run at the storm and get through the storm, they'll get to the light faster. And for some reason, they figured that out. And I ask every team that we work on, our team here, that we be the buffalo and not the cow.
Yeah. Come on now, I love it. All right, moving on. It's a ninja, like karate champion warrior. So.
Oh wow. Picture of a black belt karate. So I would say that's where the foundation was built. Anything and everything that I've done is probably because of karate. There were some incredible things that I learned from age 5. So the story goes is that I saw the Karate Kid, and for a year I asked, can I do karate with my parents? And unfortunately, I did not quit asking. So they said, fine, let's put him in. And that 5-year-old became all the way to the age of 18 doing karate. But that right there is a lot of world travels, a lot of things where I learned, really, that was probably the start of the foundation of leadership.
Okay.
For sure.
It's good. And so anyone who's listening, Brad could whip you. As a black belt. All right, moving on. Next picture is, this is really a picture of skyscrapers and those things, but it speaks to corporate America.
Yeah. Man. Jeez. Lost. I was there. I've seen it. I think we're chasing the wrong things. I know we are. I think that my heart breaks for people working in companies or being a part of something that they don't even want to be a part of. And I think that if we actually, as leaders or people who are leaders, have the opportunity to be leaders, if we shifted our focus to really just consider the heart. Right now we're not. That I think that there's a lot more that we can do. I think that we are underachieving in corporate America because we are not including the heart.
Yeah, that's right. Great point, man. That's heart stuff, yo. Heart stuff. All right, next picture. Okay, soccer ball and cleats.
Yeah, man. I look at this as, legacy. Because my dad played, and then I played, and now I'm becoming the coach to coach my little kids.
All right.
So my heart right now on that is that I get to be with my little boys and be their coach and just get to feel what my dad felt. And it's not just to watch or get to listen to it. It's like, I think for me it's kind of this shifting of the guard of, learning it, playing it now, at the highest levels, and then coaching it now. It's just pure joy because I get to help and hang out and do this all the time.
It's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right, next picture. Here we go.
Okay.
Picture your 3 boys.
Man. Why I'm here?
That's good. You know what's coming. You ready? Here you go. Here's a picture of your wife, Jen.
A rock. Most patient person on earth. I think just the way you should live life is how she lives.
Awesome. She's awesome. If there was like a girl word for stud, You know what I mean? She's awesome, man.
All
Alright, cool.
right, coming at you now.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Oh man, the ocean.
Picture of the ocean.
Oh, it's coming to my heart. I
Heart.
can taste it. Oh, I can taste the salt water and the air and the sand. I love sand in my car. I just love the ocean. Solace comes to my heart. Thinking, refreshment, surfing if there's waves. Just heart moments. I've had so many heart moments at the ocean. So seeing that, it just it gets me. I asked my wife to marry me at the ocean. You know what I mean? It's like the ocean's played such a part. From San Diego, man. It's like, come on.
Had to start with that one.
Put us on, you know? All right. Oh, high fives. Yes, I love this. I've recently discovered, not that I've recently discovered high fives, I've always loved them, but this really is like the international sign of friendliness. It's amazing. And
Please tell me Disney.
okay, we were at Disney World on a business trip, which was awesome. And our buddy Corey here, he was like, dude, I dare you to give everyone you see for the next 5 minutes a high five. And I'm like, don't tempt me, bro. But I just did it.
But hold on. He said, there's no way you get 15.
Yeah,
There's
right?
no way. There's no way you get 15.
Or something, you know? And I'm just like, and so I went for it, but I was so amazed within that, it was probably even less than 5 minutes, but like 50 for 50 people gave me a high five. There were even people like holding hands, and I'd stop them and be like, hey, high five. And they'd totally give me one because it's like this totally unoffensive, cool, you're not catching germs really, you know, you're not asking for a hug and being weird, you're just a high five. And kids love it, grandparents love it, I love high fives. So I want that to become one of my official titles in life is like the high five giver.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like chief high five giver. Is that cool?
Yes.
All right.
That's your new title.
Okay, thanks. Oh, dude. Man.
This is a picture of Danny holding cutest little baby, and I remember receiving this picture from him on my phone. Man, this is the nation.
It was in Uganda. That little baby is a miracle himself. His name was Moses because they drew him out, not of water, in a trash can as an infant. He's 2 days old, and they found him in the trash can. He's left for dead, and they took him in the orphanage that we work with over there, and they took him in and just loved on him, loved him to health, and now he's a healthy young little boy. So that's my heart right there. He makes kids, nations, people, redemption, all of that. I can't think of very many more things in life that bring that kind of joy.
That's great.
Do you get that on video?
Yeah.
My buddy opened the door.
Yeah.
What? Hey.
Picture of Danny's book.
Yes.
There's the joy out soon now next year.
Yeah,
Be ready.
That's a picture of the manuscript. Felt really good to finish that book. Pre-release copy is going to be available in like 3 weeks, I think. Something. Maybe I think from the time of this podcast release, probably will be out. It's been a pleasure to write. I tried to do a deep dive, a lot of story, but my heart was like, I want people, just like as I said, what kind of mark do I want to leave behind in the world? I want it to be joy. So anyone who grabs this book, I want them to really experience joy. I want them to be able to laugh. I want them to be able to, there's moments, maybe even cry, I don't know, but it's all story, and it's just, the joyful narrative, I call it in sections. But my heart is to encourage the reader and give people a greater understanding of joy and walk away with some more joy in their life. Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
Oh, sure enough, there they are.
Boys!
This is coming.
There they are. Comes to your heart, not your mind.
So, Isaac, he's my oldest, he's 11. He's so smart. And sometimes I don't know how to deal with how intelligent he is. And just love him so much, and he at the same time, as smart as he has the biggest heart in the world. Malachi is Mr. Creative. He just has so many ideas, and it's just to sit with him. And if you really, the times I sat with him, just let him explore his ideas. He just keeps going and going and going. He has so much going on in there. Man, I just love him. And then there's Josiah, joyful Josiah, I call him. Because he really is the epitome of joy. He's such an encourager. He's so hospitable. He's so tender. And man, all these guys, I just want to hold them. You know, that's what my heart says. I just hold them as long as you can. And hug them as much as I can. High five them as much as I can. And yeah, that's why I've been able to be here, is to pour into their lives. I'm responsible to lead them first. So
Cool.
there she is.
There's a picture of Danny's wife. On the beach.
That's my brown sugar right there. I love my wife Michelle. We've been married 14 years. My heart. So patient with me. She's deep. She's taught me a lot about depth in life. That there's really not a shallow aspect of Michelle. And yeah, she's deep and challenges me to be deep with friendships and deep with, anything I do, to have a depth to it, have a reason behind it. And she's definitely my biggest encourager. She's, in like a biblical term, it'd be like a Barnabas.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big encourager, and she's such an encouragement to me. Anything I've done, she's done. She's, that she knows is right and good and true. She's come behind me full support. So thankful. She's a peach. I married her up.
Yes, you do.
Awesome. Moving along with this, what do you think, Brad? And we can touch on this briefly, but what do you think is the greatest threat and obstacle for effective leadership these days?
Just all the distractions.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we're so distracted and we're chasing. There's always going to be more money to be made. There's always going to be better processes. There's always going to be performance. But as a leader, you have a responsibility to make the life better for the people who work for you, and the people that you are on your journey with in life. And I think the biggest threat is the distraction of what really matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think?
I would say narcissism.
Yeah.
Honestly, when we are consumed with ourselves, we miss out on those we can lead. We miss out on true giving, because it's even where joy comes from, is giving. When we give, there's a greater aspect of joy. So I think the greatest threat and obstacle to true effective leadership is narcissism. We're just so consumed with ourselves that we can't see the needs of those around us. So, here's a good little question.
Yeah.
Let's try to narrow it down to one word, if we can.
Okay.
What's your greatest fear?
Other than snakes.
Yeah. Those are mine too. I hate snakes.
One word. You
want to take that one?
Yeah, and then I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'm struggling.
I'm just
two
gonna,
or three.
I'm gonna be super transparent, honest, and vulnerable. Actually, should always be honest.
Yeah.
Man, isn't that funny when people say that?
To be honest.
Let me just be honest here. Well, hopefully you're always honest, but failure. Honestly, that I would let those closest to me down, failure. Yeah.
This two words, but it's one thought.
Sure.
It's too soon. Meaning the fear of going too soon before my time, or what I was meant to do, or and getting everything out there that I feel like should have been. So,
That's good. We're going to get a little bit lighter now, but how do you personally recharge the Brad Stinson mojo?
Well, I'm horrible at this, so one of the guys we interviewed, CZ, another book on soul rest that I need to probably take in. But I think my biggest time is, and I just did this, with my wife, is actually to just go somewhere with her.
Good.
Just go away and get off the grid, or take an evening and go on a day. Like, if I can be with her anywhere in the world, I'm good.
That's
just
cool.
her. Love my kids, but just her.
That's cool. Wow.
That's
Well,
how
how do
I
I
try.
not answer the same? And my wife will, she's like, what do you mean? We're done? Yeah, I'm just kidding. My mojo recharge is probably from, used to be surfing. I used to go surf, and I'd be alone. As extroverted as I am, I tend to recharge alone.
Cool.
And I love reading. Grabbing a biography, or like right now, I'm reading that Louis Zamperini book, which is also a movie, Unbroken. And I'm just getting totally recharged. So reading in a quiet place with, whether it's on my front porch or the beach or whatever, just getting quiet. I mean, there's even times I recharge on the way here. I'm in Nashville from my house, and it's just quiet. I don't turn on any podcasts. No, it's good to listen to podcasts, by the way, but.
Please do that.
Please do, especially ones that start with heart. Oh. No, I do though. I'll just get quiet, no music, nothing, and there's something about silence. I think CZ might have said something similar to that, but it really does me. I recharge with silence. And so All right, this is called Joy Time. You ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna go through this with you, and then you're gonna figure it out and go through with me.
Yeah, I got it.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Would you rather people not come to your wedding or your funeral?
Funeral, because I won't be there. I want to party with people.
All right. Okay. Favorite cereal?
Oh wow. Frosted Flakes.
Ooh, with bananas. You ever had that?
No,
It's incredible.
Just straight up.
Okay. All right. For the record, try it. Super good. Lark or no? Yeah. High five or a hug? Right on.
Yeah, dude.
Squishies.
Yes, and switch me to a 100% hug guy.
Awesome. All right. Soccer or American football? And you can't say why or anything, just you got to pick one or the other.
Soccer.
Okay. Here's a big one for you, Brad. Get ready. 1 year without brushing your hair, or 1 year without brushing your teeth.
Do I have bad breath?
No, I'm just saying you gotta pick teeth or hair, man.
I can wear hats, so.
Okay.
Teeth.
Good solution.
I can put a hat on for a year.
Yes.
I will definitely
The best
brush
part
my
about
teeth.
the best part about it is you took a while for that one. Brad has great hair. All right, you have 5 minutes to spare. Text or phone call. Phone call. Okay. And go to the movies or stay home and watch Netflix.
I like the movies.
Okay.
My wife doesn't.
Oh, that's a conundrum, my friend.
No. So.
All right.
Let's go back to you, man. All right. So, would you have people rather not come to your wedding or not come to your funeral?
I'd rather people not come to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please why?
A funeral is my true homecoming. And that I just want it to be a true celebration of life. Okay. And the wedding also is super expensive. You have to limit.
Oh,
I mean, you can lose friends over not inviting someone to your wedding. So, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna say funeral. Yeah, I'd rather them. Actually, wedding. Yeah, I'd rather people not come to my wedding than not go to my funeral.
Okay. All right. Favorite cereal?
Raisin Bran Crunch.
Really?
Oh, I love it. It's the sweet one.
Really?
The flakes are a little frosted, they're crunchy, the raisins are puffy. Oh man, it's amazing.
Lark or an owl?
Lark, hands down.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yes.
High five or a hug? Ooh, this one right now.
Really hard. You know what? I'm gonna do a high five hug.
You can't do that. You have to pick. No, you made me pick. You have to pick.
Oh,
you
you know what
I'm
I'm gonna do? Okay.
Come on.
I'm gonna do the where you high five somebody and you hug their hand. Try it, bro. Watch. Hand hug.
Oh. The world.
Got by that one, didn't I?
All right. Watching your Golden State Warriors or watching your kid play basketball?
Live or TV?
Both live.
Oh.
It's both basketball.
I gotta go with my son. I gotta go with him.
Of course you do.
I gotta go with him. I'm
But I
good
need
at
to have you make you think a little bit.
I know.
Go on, bro.
Alright.
All right. If you have, I'm gonna get back to one, but 5 minutes. If you have 5 minutes, do you text or do you call?
I'm just gonna be real. I'm texting.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a texter.
I'm not, but if I have more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna call.
Okay.
If I just have 5 minutes, I'm gonna be like, dude, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Stay home with Michelle and read a book,
Mm-hmm.
or stay home with Michelle and watch a movie.
Stay with y'all, watch a movie.
Really?
Yep. Like when I'm
Two of
alone.
those things.
Yeah, when I'm alone,
Yeah.
I like to read the book. But when she's there, I like to cuddle up, watch a movie. Sure enough.
All right. Last thing.
Okay, here we go.
So, under the speaking category.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Do you have to either speak to high schoolers or just adults?
Really?
I know.
Are you kidding me? Oh, my heart. Ouch. I'm going to have to go with adults.
Good.
Yeah, because you got 20 to like 100
Yeah.
of a range of life.
True.
In high school, they're pretty limited. So I'm going to go with adults.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks,
All right.
man.
Yep.
Awesome. We're going to be winding this up. Brad, how can people get in touch with you if they want you to speak? I know you got a book that's going to be around the corner. What are you going to be calling it?
It's called Where Are You?
Awesome. So if people want to get in touch with you directly or even the collective, what do they need to go to?
Yeah, you can go to our website, fill out a contact list, contact form. Just get a hold of us, that way, or you can email me at brad@thecollectiveglobal.com.
Okay.
You can hit us up on my Instagram, brad.m.stinson, or @thecollectiveglobal.
Cool.
So on Instagram as well. So what about you? How do they get in touch with you? You got a book coming out. How can they buy it? Tell us.
Absolutely. Quickest way is going to be DannyWilliamson.com. There you go.
Yep.
And whether it's for speaking, buying my book, it's all right there. So DannyWilliamson.com. You can email me there at hello@DannyWilliamson.com. And super simple.
Okay, so last question for each of us. If people want to start with heart, what advice would you give them?
Slow down. Slow down. Look up. And look up. See that there's a bright, big world out there, and you have a purpose in it. And but slow down, stop, look up, and you'll find that heartbeat. So that's it. How about you, Brad?
I would say be ready for the journey and do it.
And we're talking Nike like that.
Nike like that, right?
Just do it. Man.
But I think that it's hard, it's tough. It's a connection back to something that obviously you might have been disconnected from. But I think that know that it is a tough and tough journey, but there's many people that we come in contact with every day that start with heart and doing what they love every single day. And every single person
That's right.
is afforded that opportunity.
Right on, man.
So
Good stuff.
yeah, so thank you. This has been a podcast to get to know Danny, to get to know myself, to get to know what we're about, to kind of intro you into some of the questions that we're going to ask these people as we interview and go through season 1 and maybe more seasons. We'll see what happens, man. But it's been a pleasure, to just share our hearts and what we're about, with you guys, and. We look forward to more opportunities to do this, and anything else from you.
Hand hug.
Hand hug. That's how we're ending this. All right, my name is Brad Stinson. That is Danny Williamson. Thank you so much. Start With Heart podcast. Sponsored by the Collective Global. We out.